Hey, we're back with Championship Wrestling again, and we're moving into the holiday season, and we've got the spirit here of the season in Championship Wrestling. Eric Foster.
We sure do, and on tap today, if you watched last week, it's a big tag team match with Eric St. Clair and Mad Dog Lynch wrestling George South and Shanghai Pierce.
World Heavyweight Champion George South back on television in the ring this week, and fans will be right back.
USA Championship Wrestling presents the greatest stars of professional wrestling, bringing you the best in mat action.
The Hustler, Rip Manson, and he will be taking on newcomer Cedric Alexander. And boy, did we see a heck of an opening contest last week with a newcomer and Dangerous Dave Scott. We saw Caleb Conley, and this week Cedric Alexander making his way to Championship Wrestling, taking on the Hustler, Rip Manson. And as always, Ox Baker Jr. out here at ringside. And Cedric Alexander looking like he's not really impressed. And there you go. There it is right there. Hustler Rip Manson has the physique of the Michelin Man, and absolutely not going to show up young Cedric Alexander in that department at all.
Well, you know, before we came on the air, I was actually in the back, and they were in a push-up contest, which Rip Manson claims that he won, but I think he cheated a little bit.
Well, that wouldn't bother me to believe that about one Hustler Rip Manson, but I tell you what, he's on the receiving end right now, and Cedric Alexander, oh, look at that boot to the midsection. Now he's gained a little bit of an advantage on him right now. And there it is. That's what he's going to have to use. He's going to have to use his cunning and his intellect and his experience edge against young Alexander in this matchup. And once again, on the receiving end, and I fail to understand why he's trying to match power up right here with, and look at that, stomp of the fingers. And young Cedric Alexander, and he's showing Hustler Rip Manson he's here and he means business. Referee Cody Green this week assigned to our opening matchup right now. And and look at this, a big arm
drag on Rip Manson.
I'll tell you what, he's just all over him, Hustler Rip Manson right now. Unable to mount any kind of sustained offense against this newcomer, Cedric Alexander. And Alexander working that left arm over Eric, and showing why that he is worthy to be here in Championship Wrestling. And
he's calling for you to help him.
I'll tell you what, he's not going to call. He's not going to get any help from me. He can call all he wants. He's going to get a wrong number. He's asking me to help him.
Referee Cody Green was down there asking if he gave up. He said maybe. It has to be a definite yes or no to stop or keep this match going. But the youngster here proving that we have a bunch of rookies that come through Championship Wrestling that are on top of their game, and they pay attention and they know who they step in the ring with.
Well, absolutely. I'm going to tell you something else. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you birthday wishes here. If I'm not mistaken, today is your birthday, Eric Foster, so congratulations on that.
There's nowhere I would rather be on my birthday than right here watching some great Championship Wrestling.
I see, that's great. That's great, because I thought that you were going to say there's nowhere you'd rather be than home watching your Sheik Akbar DVD. And I know that you're well into your third copy of that DVD, and so I may get you another one for Christmas, Eric.
The holidays are upon us, but there you see Rip Manson trying to make peace, which we know that wasn't going to happen, and this newcomer has been watching because he knew Rip was never going to do that.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I tell you what, this Cedric Alexander is showing me a little something. This guy's a grappler. He's a wrestler, and he's being able to take Hustler Rip Manson out of his normal game plan and keep him down on the mat. And, he's just wearing out that left arm right now, as you see our excellent camera work here on television. I want to say a happy holidays right now to my normal broadcast partner, Jason Schaefer. He's still on vacation this week with his family. They've gone back to visit his in-laws in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. His wife, as you know, is Amish, and took him 2 weeks because she refuses to ride in an automobile. It has to be either mass transit, a train, or has to be in the horse and buggy there, Eric Foster. So a long trip, and we wish him well and can't wait for him to get back, Jason Schaefer and his family.
this Cedric Alexander taking it to Rip Manson. Rip Manson had pulled him back into the turnbuckle and went to looked like it was a close fist, and he moved and went right back to the arm, and it's just taken advantage by literally out-wrestling one hustler, Rip Manson.
Well, you know what I see that's impressing me right here, Eric Foster, is that young Cedric Alexander has maintained his contact, has not allowed hustler Rip Manson to create any separation between the two, which is where Manson is really dangerous. He likes to catch you with a lot of moves coming off of the ropes. You know, the cheap shot artist that he is, and really Alexander not really giving him an opportunity, and right there he just drove that elbow into the solar plexus, driving the wind out of the lungs of one hustler, Rip Manson, and man alive, I tell you what, Alexander just all over him, and we're going to be looking at a new oh, look at this, a springboard, and oh, look, it took advantage right there, and there it is. That he's got him. The one mistake, we preach it and preach it and preach it out here on commentary. The one mistake, young Alexander dominated this matchup, but he made one critical error, and there hustler Rip Manson gains the win here on television. And I hate to see a youngster like that go down in defeat here on television, but a really excellent accounting of himself here. Eric Foster, let's see if you can get a word right now with Rip Manson and Ox Baker Jr.
Fans, joining me now is the Manson family, hustler Rip Manson, Ox Baker Jr., and Shanghai Pierce. Rip Manson, you got a win in the ring.
Oh, brother, I had that boy down on the canvas the whole match. I was just teasing what I was going to do for my big ending, for my big finish with the letter Rip, the pedigree, brother. I had him down on the mat. I drove that ugly face right in the mat. He tried to hurt my arm. You don't do that to the hustler, brother. You don't try. With the holidays coming up, my God, I've got kids to feed. I got to feed Shanghai's kids. Don't you ever try and hurt me again. And that goes for you or any of these old fat women out there. They try and beat down my hotel room door this evening. Enough.
Now, Rip Manson, your man here has a big tag team match coming up in the main event. How
does.
have you prepared him for the ring?
Brother, we've been doing squat thrusts on top of squat thrusts, brother, on top of each other. Lord, I tell you what, brother, we are in shape. We are quite possibly the most fit wrestlers in championship wrestling, dare I say the world. And I'll tell you right now, like I'm telling everybody out there in radio land, brother, when the Ripster gets on a roll, heads are going to roll. Hook 'em horn, Shanghai. Your brother, right there. I got all the horns I need, brother, to mow the competition down in championship wrestling.
There you go. You hear it from the Manson family.
I'll whoop you too.
Hey, how about this, Eric Foster? We've got one Dr. Roger Ham, who is a member in good standing of the syndicate and actually one half of the United States Tag Team Champions, or should I say 1/3 now of the United States Tag Team Champions in single competition against the West Virginia television champion, the Super B, and strangely absent one Shotgun Johnny Sullivan.
And before we came on the air with this match, Roger looked a little bit confused as to why Shotgun was not out here with him.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's got an opportunity against the West Virginia television champion, and being a former United States heavyweight champion, an excellent opportunity. The title on the line here on television. And there's the bell, and here we go. 10 minutes, and the title is on the line, and Shotgun Sullivan still hasn't seen fit to make his way out here. It looks like Dr. Roger Ham on his own against the Super B here in the ring. Television title on the line.
I'm sure Shotgun's money helped Roger get this title shot because, but then again, if you're 1/3 of the tag team champions, the other two can hold the belts, and then he can rightfully be the television champion.
I'll tell you what we're talking about, if our fans don't realize this and don't know
Quick roll up. 1, 2.
Schoolboy from the Super B, and
Sorry to interrupt you there, Joe Brody.
That's okay. Dr. Roger Ham about to lose it out here, and I think that if he was the one, as you mentioned on television last week, that advised Hustler Rip Manson to take Ox Baker Jr. off of his medication, he probably needs to go on a little himself. Dr. Roger Ham not wrapped very tight. But now I'll tell you something right now. We've got an excellent matchup going on here, and Dr. Roger Ham is a capable veteran, and he can take this title off the Super B, really. Fans, I can't stress enough. I mean, obviously a former United States heavyweight champion.
You know, we see Super B here this week, coming off a great victory last week against Hannibal Alexander. Has the crowd behind him as Roger screams, "Get him off of me when I get in the buckle."
Well, now you mentioned Hannibal Alexander, and the Super B did have a successful title defense against him last week. The Super B, as television champion, is mandated that he will defend the title every time he gets in the ring, and he will defend it against anyone that the championship committee deems appropriate to defend that title against. And Dr. Roger Ham this week drawing the short straw and getting the opportunity here on television. The Super B definitely a fighting champion without a doubt. And Super B, you can hear the fans starting to come up with a chant there. Oh, and a big shoulder tackle from Dr. Roger Ham. And he's all over the Super B right now, and he's full of himself, Eric Foster, that's for sure.
Roger dancing and prancing all over the ring, thinking that he won the match. But that is not no easy feat when you got one like Super B in this ring. Roger singing in the middle of the ring, that is not the way to beat a veteran like Super B.
A veteran and a champion, but I'm going to tell you something. Speaking of champions, Dr. Roger Ham, as we mentioned, 1/3 of the recognized United States Tag Team Champions. Shotgun Sullivan has presented championship wrestling with incorporation papers claiming that the syndicate consisting of Dr. Roger Ham, Joey By-God Morton, Adorable Danny Ray, and Drake Tungsten, and Dangerous Dave Scott for that matter, that any combination of these gentlemen may defend these United States Tag Team titles. That's being researched by the legal department here in Championship Wrestling, but there is a precedent for this in the sport, so it's entirely possible that he's going to be allowed to get away with this, and it's going to be hard for anybody to game plan against a matchup with the champions when you don't have any idea what two men you're going to be facing in the ring.
What I would do is I would try to find out who is in the building and try to prepare that way, because if you see two of them and you don't see the rest, they might not be there, but you never know.
Well, I'll tell you what, what we're looking at right here is a situation where not just any two of them, but there's so many members of the syndicate that Shotgun Sullivan is claiming can defend these tag team titles. That's a situation that's really going to have to be looked into here in Championship Wrestling to try to resolve it. But as of right now, he's gotten his way, much like the legal injunction he filed on us to forestall his 30-day suspension that was supposed to take effect in January. And our lawyer's still fighting that out with his lawyers.
Roger screaming that the Super B was biting his fingers. We couldn't really see it from our angle here on TV, but Super B backs Roger into the turnbuckle with a couple big shoulder thrusts into the midsection, trying to knock some of the air out of Roger there. Brings him out with a big short clothesline.
The short arm clothesline out of the corner, something that I used during my career, Eric Foster, and something I know that you have a particular interest in. I think you've caught a few inadvertent clotheslines in your career as an official in the ring over the years. I can think of one time in particular back in 2000 in Bradley, West Virginia, when I thought your head was absolutely taken off in the matchup. But every now and then I go back and watch the video of that and get a little chuckle out of it. But speaking of watching video, I want to say that with the holiday season coming up, I want to say happy holidays to you. I've already wished you a happy birthday, but what I'd like to say is, I'm glad that you're here and you're not spending your time in Santa's workshop there, Hermie.
Thank you for that, Joe Brody. But since you were speaking of the holiday seasons, let it be known that all Championship Wrestling DVDs are on sale. Super Show 1, Super Show 2, and Super Show 3. If you want to know how to get your hands on one, go to the Championship Wrestling MySpace page or the Championship Wrestling fan page. Email them and find out how you can get your copies of some great Championship Wrestling action.
Hey, absolutely. And speaking of the holiday season, we were a little concerned that our director for in-house studios, Tommy Lester, wasn't going to make it this week. He had mentioned to us on television last week that he was going to be working on the Christmas lights on his house, but we didn't realize that he leaves them up year-round, and all he had to do was plug in the orange extension cord, and he's right back in business. So he's here, and he's got the 84 Grand Marquis in the parking lot, and he is behind this great wrestling action being brought to you technically by Tommy Lester, our director, and our great wrestlers here in Championship Wrestling. They're your winner, the Super B, with a quick win over Dr. Roger Ham. And let's see if we can get a word with Dr. Roger Ham after that pinfall loss. The Super B working his way through. I want to try to get a word with the loser in that matchup, Dr. Roger Ham. Yes, Dr. Roger Ham, I noticed you had a title opportunity out here. You're recognized right now as 1/3 of the United States Tag Team Champions, and right now you had an opportunity to win that West Virginia television title. Your manager not out here with you.
I don't know where he is. He's probably in the back somewhere shaving his horse or something. Or maybe he's prying Joey's lips off his backside. I don't know. But let me tell you something. I'm the leader of this group. I'm the star. And if I don't start getting treated like a star, something's going to happen, Shotgun. Something's going to happen. Wait, he was my money first. I mean, not my money, my manager first. My manager first. Then you got these little weasels, little money weasels with their little teeth. And they come around when they need the money. Wherever they take the money, say, Joey, Dave, the Sheik, they're all a bunch of little money weasels. I'm true blue. You said I was special, Shotgun. You said I was special. In that hotel in Cleveland, you told me. I want you to remember, you told me I was special.
Well, there you have it from the very special Dr. Roger Ham. Fans, we'll be right back with more Championship Wrestling action.
Do you dream of stepping into the ring as a professional wrestler, referee, or manager? If so, come train with us at the USA Championship Wrestling Training Academy. For information on training, contact us now at JDR Promotions Wrestling at gmail.com to get started on living your dream today.
Right now, we've got in the ring a show of sportsmanship here. Kid Chaos and Chris Andrews taking on Chris Malenko and Michael Cook. And, boy, we had a big match up there in our television main event last week between the Super B and Hannibal Alexander. And this week we've got one that should be a real barn burner between some young guys, all four guys. Cook and Malenko, obviously the more experienced and obviously the more successful tag team. And there you had collar and elbow lock up into a hammerlock, right back into a side headlock. And Malenko gaining control over young Andrews here right now. And right in the center of the ring, headlock takeover, and worked him right over. And fans, you're going to see Andrews is going to have to try to regain his vertical base and use his quickness. Malenko, a much better mat wrestler than any of the four men in the ring. Oh, and look at that. Andrews tried to take him up and over in a belly-to-back suplex, and Malenko able to shift his weight and come right across into another headlock takeover, and Andrews working his way back up to his feet.
If you see what referee Cody Green was doing there, he was checking his shoulders, making sure his shoulders were not down on the mat, because sometimes you can't get a pinning situation out of a move like that. A big tag to Michael Cook coming in with a couple thrusts to the bottom of the chin, it looked like, of one Andrews. Andrews fired back with a couple kicks there. Now a kick to the midsection and a big right hand to Michael.
Oh, and look at that, a big knee to the jaw. And Andrews at a loss here with the mat-based wrestling of Malenko and Cook, and he went right to the fisticuffs there with the big boots, the forearms, a couple of big shots, and Chaos came in and he's caught some offense there from Michael Cook, and a couple of back elbows and a quick 2 count, and it looks like Michael Cook's gonna looks like he's trying to get him in a cravat right there. Doesn't really have it hooked in. exactly the way that he needs to, but that could be due to that injury that he suffered to his thumb. If you notice that thumb on the right hand of Michael Cook, heavily taped, and look at that, Kid Chaos with a flurry of offense with the big slam there and big leg lariat. Takes Cook up and over in a 1 count and right back into that rear chin lock. And we're seeing a lot of mat wrestling here in this matchup as well, Eric Foster.
A lot of mat wrestling, a rear chin lock, trying to squeeze all the air out of Michael Cook that he can. You know, I think when Michael Cook had when he had Chaos down, he did nothing but let him get some air in him. And when he came up, he took advantage of it. And now he has Michael Cook in his hands.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know how much longer Cook is going to want to stay in this because Chaos has it applied perfectly. If you notice, he's got that knee in his back between his shoulder blades, and he's creating a fulcrum that he can crank back on that chin and really turn that head and neck in a direction that it's not designed to go. Now Cook starting to come up, fires a shot to the midsection, followed by a second, followed by a third, and a big forearm shot. And into the corner. Oh, and look at that. Oh! Blocked it and followed it up with a headbutt. And right there, oh, man, alive, look at that. And Michael Cook, don't know if that was intentional or not, but I'll tell you what, he followed the headbutt up with a second one. And Kid Chaos suffering dearly in the ring right now. And Andrew's trying to extol his partner to get up and make the tag. And Malenko's saying, yeah, come on. He's wanting the tag as well. Look at that. There's a tag
on both sides.
Both sides. Here comes Malenko. And Andrews in and down again. And look at this. I fired up Chris Malenko. And, man, he's throwing the fisticuffs really uncalled for there by Malenko. Oh, and a super kick. Michael Cook. And a flapjack right there, move made famous by the Midnight Express years ago. And it looks like that Chris Andrews.
Hit
Look
the
at
wrong
that.
person.
Cook hit the wrong guy. Oh, and a big clothesline right there. And Andrews goes to cover his partner after he was super kicked by Michael Cook. And your winners in an upset here on television right now. Chris Andrews and Kid Chaos, an upset win over Modern Profile, former two-time United States Tag Team Champions. And as we mentioned earlier, all it takes is one mistake right there.
Wait, Brody, look what's going on. Cook was trying to apologize to Malenko. He's telling him you hit the wrong guy.
Whoa, look at this. We just saw a right-hand shot from Malenko, and tension's boiling over. And that team, let's see if you can get an interview up there. Eric, see if you can get a word with Chris Malenko after that.
Chris, it honestly, it looked like a mistake by Michael Cook. What's going on with
mistake? This whole tag team's a mistake. Every loss we have is because of him. We don't have our titles because of him. I'm the one who put Profile in Modern Profile. What has he done? Nothing. And that's why, Michael, me and you, we're finished. We're no more. I hope I knocked your head off. That's it.
Fans, I think we just seen the end of Modern Profile. We'll be back right after this.
I'm the best there is right here in Beckley. I'm the best there is in Appalachian Pro Wrestling.
From Runtzenburg, West Virginia, he is the Heartbreaker, Scotty McKeever.
And I tell you what, Scotty McKeever, he is a great competitor.
You see in my career, I've been in the ring with people the likes of Sid Vicious, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
West Virginia sports icon, the man, the myth, the legend.
Gotta live his dream.
From now on, I'm out for myself. I am the champion.
Short south. Oh, missed that clothesline right there. McKeever up and over the man. Oh, he was a move right there, solidly planted.
I don't know if you heard what Chris had to say, but he said Modern Profile is over a mistake.
That's exactly what it was a mistake. Chris Malenko, you got a problem, boy.
You and I, we were like brothers. We traveled together all up and down that East Coast for well over a year. We slept in each other's houses. We beat all the best tag teams that was placed in front of us. You got some explaining to do.
Fans, we are back, and I am here with Shotgun Stable. Shotgun asks for this time, what is on your mind?
I'll tell you what's on my mind right now. These boys defending these titles and defending them good. Roger Ham has broke my heart. He broke my heart. He said he wasn't special to me no more. Roger's special.
Where were you during his match?
I had other stuff to take care of. That's
like what?
There you go.
Well, Joey, you seen Roger out here. You guys are the tag team champions, along with Danny Ray, the Syndicate. What is on your mind?
Me and Danny Ray are the tag team champions. Who has the belts? Did Roger come out here with a belt?
No.
Okay, case closed. Yes, Roger is special. He rode that little short bus to school when he was smaller, so he's special. And Shotgun, I want to thank you for the big Thanksgiving. You know, me and Danny Ray both, we want to thank you, and Dave Scott.
Can't wait till Christmas.
Roger didn't even thank you for a Thanksgiving dinner.
That's true. Nobody respects me.
Me, Shotgun, adorable Danny Ray, and Dave Scott. Well, Roger, we can't get no closer than we are. Sometimes. Roger's a baby. Roger quits.
Danny Ray?
We'll take care of Roger. It's just a family affair. It's nobody's business. Don't worry about it. And another affair that I personally am looking forward to looking into even further is your broadcast colleague, Mr. Brody. Mr. Brody, I'm here. How you doing? You doing good today? Now, you don't have to come over here like you're a big guy. You don't have to come over here like you're a big man. I was just giving you a holiday greeting.
I have something to say to you, and it has nothing to do with my capacity as a matchmaker here in Championship Wrestling. If you think that I don't know it's you that's cut the tires on my vehicles, that's broken windows in my home, that's making phone calls at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning threatening people, brother, I know you well from years ago, and you and I have been all over and around, and I'm telling you now, it's going to cease.
Anytime. We were talking about Matoka, Baileysville, Princeton again, Super Show 3. But you're got Super Show 4. Thank you very much. I was thinking back to the, when I was starting up and everybody told me the other sellout. It all come back to me right in that building. And it all come back in a hard and heavy way. You know why I'm back here? It's not because of these. These are nice. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. The money's good, but there's issues that's not been buried for a long, long time.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know that our fans have long memories, and they know that you and I have wrestled each other for years back and forth on both sides of the fence, Danny Ray, with nothing ever being resolved. How about this? How about I come out of retirement one more time, I put my boots on, and I get in the ring with you. Would our fans, would you folks like to see that one more time? Well, how about this? How about me and you, big boy, at Super Show 4 in Princeton, singles?
What do you say, Danny Ray?
No. He has other tasks at hand. He has to defend these. Me and Danny Ray has to defend these against Children of the Corn at the Super Show.
You better make other arrangements, Shotgun Sullivan and Joey Morton, because you've got an obligation at Super Show 4. You're going to face me in the ring. I'm coming out of retirement and putting my boots on, and I can guarantee you better be ready for the fight of your life.
Fans, there you heard it first. January 16th, Super Show 4 in Princeton. Adorable Danny Ray versus the man coming out of retirement, Joe Brody.
Harry Foster, I have to apologize for interrupting your interview there with the syndicate, but as I said, I've had a lot of incidences over the last several weeks, a lot of things happening that the general public's not aware of, and I tell you what, I've just had it. I've absolutely had enough. I had said that I would never get back in the ring and wrestle again, but you know what? There are some things that a man has to do, and a man has to stand up for his family and stand up for what's right, and I'm going to stand up against Danny Ray at Super Show 4, Eric Foster.
Well, very, very big news coming out of tonight's Championship Wrestling television show, but aside from that, we now have Danny Ray and Joey Morton in the ring getting ready to face Hannibal Alexander and the United States Heavyweight Champion, one Mr. Billy Litt.
But once again, since we announced last week that Dangerous Dave Scott and Billy Litt were forbidden to wrestle each other between last week's television taping and Super Show 4 in Princeton, Shotgun Sullivan has done everything he can to snap up every available booking to put Billy Litt in the ring with a member of his syndicate, whether it be Roger Ham, whether it be Danny Ray, whether it be Joey Morton, whoever it might be. He's putting them in the ring to try to soften him up for Dangerous Dave Scott in that title shot at Super Show 4 in Princeton on Saturday, January 16th.
January 16th, Princeton Rec Center in Princeton, West Virginia with a 7:30 start time. You know, it's going to be a great show. If you haven't seen a Super Show live, now is your opportunity. You don't want to miss this Super Show coming up when one Mr. Joe Brody comes out of retirement to wrestle adorable Danny Ray.
Well, right here we've got adorable Danny Ray and Joey By God Morton representing the syndicate as United States Tag Team Champions, taking on newcomer Hannibal Alexander, fan favorite, and along with United States Heavyweight Champion Billy Litt. So we've got the United States Heavyweight Champion and the representatives of the syndicate, the United States Tag Team Champions, all in the ring for this one matchup.
We sure do, Joe Brody, and I just wonder now, are you going to be watching these matches more closely to scout adorable Danny Ray, or are you going to go back and watch tapes from when you wrestled him 10 years ago to remember how to take on and how to beat this man?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I have known how to beat Danny Ray for years, and I'm not going to say that Danny Ray is not a great competitor. He is. He is an excellent wrestler. He is a consummate professional when it comes to inside that ring once the bell rings. But I'm going to tell you right now, adorable Danny Ray knows just as well as I do that he's beat me, I've beat him, and we're just going to find out who's going to come out on top at Super Show 4 in Princeton on the 16th. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to take it to him with everything that I've got, Eric Foster.
Well, one thing you need to pay attention to within the next couple of weeks when you're training and trying to get ready for this match, don't you forget that one Shotgun Sullivan will probably be ringside for that match.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else. Eric Foster, you know me as well as anyone in this sport knows me. You've been around me for years, and in my capacity now as a matchmaker for Championship Wrestling, and also you were around me when I was an active professional wrestler. You know that there's not a shortcut that I wouldn't take or a rule that I wouldn't break when I was an active wrestler. And when it comes to adorable Danny Ray, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to come out with everything I've got, just the way Billy Litt just came off of that middle rope with everything he's got against Joey Morton.
Billy Litt taking advantage of the arm of Joey Morton that was exposed there, and now working it with a big thumb to the eye by Joey Morton. Right in front of the referee. The referee warned him, and now he's just digging in those eyes, trying to blind the man so he can't see where he's getting hit from, so Billy don't swing that way and hit Joey Morton.
Oh, and look at that. Look at those shots to the midsection, followed up by a big shot to the bridge of the nose from Joey Morton. Did you see the way he used his body to shield referee Pee Wee Harris away from that punch?
Tag, and here comes the man that you'll be facing at Super Show 4, Danny Ray in the ring. Big kick to the midsection on Billy Litt there, and then big snap mare.
And surfboard type maneuver applied after the snap mare. And adorable Danny Ray is showing United States Heavyweight Champion Billy Litt why he's a successful 20-year veteran of this sport of professional wrestling.
Hannibal Alexander trying to get the crowd into it as Joey tries to sneak in the ring right off camera there. You couldn't see it. Billy coming up, twisting it around, going into a big backslide. Back into a big backslide by
Oh, and
Billy
look at
Litt.
that. Just as he got Danny Ray's shoulders down, Joey Morton came in and with a big boot to the short ribs and broke up that pin attempt and right back on top of his man, adorable Danny Ray, showing once again why he is one of the dirtiest players out there. And he's going to find out. I cannot be objective in calling this matchup, Eric Foster.
That's perfectly fine. I understand with all the problems that you guys have had as Danny Ray takes Billy Litt's foot right, his face right into the boot of one Joey Morton, and then Danny Ray tags Joey in to come in. Big right hand by Joey Morton. Pee Wee Harris needs to get one man out and get Billy Litt out of this turnbuckle, as Billy's gasping for air after being
Pee Wee
choked.
Harris giving the stern warning to Joey Morton, giving Danny Ray the opportunity to guillotine Billy Litt across that top rope. And look at that. Did you see that? That knee drop was right in the throat, and Billy Litt right back on the receiving end of a rear chin lock from Joey, by God, Morton.
Joey Morton, definitely a veteran, and was kind of shocked because you've been in the ring with him many times, and he was kind of shocked when you announced that you were coming out of retirement.
Hey, look what just came here in the view here. The monster, the pet monster of Todd Austin and the Children of Revolution, Caden Phoenix, just made his way out here to ringside.
Oh, wait, coming out the other doors.
Look at this, coming in. And Todd Austin and Devin Carnage have attacked Joey Morton and Danny Ray, and Caden Phoenix was merely the distraction there. And I didn't see him coming at all in any way, shape, or form. Billy Litt and Hannibal Alexander have bailed out on this one, and Joey Morton and Danny Ray are going to get the disqualification win by virtue of being attacked here. But I'll tell you what, and Todd Austin and the Children of Revolution all over Joey Morton, and Shotgun Sullivan feeling at discretion the better part of valor. And look at this.
Danny
just
trying to pull
him right
Joey
back
out.
in
They pulled
and
him
just
in.
working him over here. And oh man. That look at this. He was tapping out. It's over. Let's see if we can't restore some order here. And I think we're scheduled for an interview right now with Dangerous Dave Scott. Let's see if we can't get Dave Scott out here and in the ring right now. The Children of Revolution.
And I am here with Dangerous Dave Scott, who has a big match come January 16th for the United States title against Billy Litt. But right now, you've got Jack Miller.
You see, that's the difference between a champion and a wannabe champion. Billy Litt's taking tag matches to get ready. I'm wrestling the best championship wrestling has to offer to get ready. That's the difference. Jack Miller's one of the best that ever come down the road. Billy Litt, you're in a tag match, it's not going to get it done. And one thing I do want to address is Roger Ham. All this stuff's going on with him. I want no part of that. Roger and Billy and everything. Billy's my focus. Roger and Danny and Joey and all that right now, they can handle it themselves. I got a one-track mind, and that's you, Billy Litt. January comes, it'll be your last era of the Litt reign.
Let's get up to the ring for your next match, Jack Miller against Dave Scott. Jack Miller here trying to prove himself, trying to move out of that number 10 spot in the championship wrestling rankings, trying to move up by beating the challenger for the United States title, Dave Scott. But yes, what a very intense.
Oh, man, did you see that? He shot him out of that headlock and then whipped him right back into that arm drag.
He sure did, but a very intense interview there. Dave Scott showing that he has tunnel vision towards Billy Litt, but has he taken away from Jack Miller because of that strict training?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know. I know that this match, if it's going to play, look at that, once again, right back, just whipped him right back into that arm drag. This match is going to play into the hands of Dangerous Dave Scott if he can get Jack Miller off his feet, much the way that Ox Baker Jr. did, and keep him down on the mat, the forte of Dangerous Dave Scott.
Did you see what he did right there? He took his arm and put it across his knees and just slammed down onto the mat, trying to just jerk that shoulder right out of socket.
Well, as I mentioned last week, and look at that. He's working that left arm and that shoulder, and goes into that cross arm breaker right there. And Dangerous Dave Scott fighting it off. Did you notice he did not let Jack Miller lace those legs and gain that extra amount of pressure and leverage on that shot? No, now he's fighting for it. And look, Dave Scott's got him wrapped up. Now there's a mark of a true professional. These guys are wrestling, and that's what it says on the marquee, and that's what we present here in Championship Wrestling. Eric Foster.
Jack Miller scooted around and kind of got a chin lock onto one Dave Scott there. They're trying to watch each other, and they know each other's moves. They faced many times. The last time these two men were in the ring was in War for the Fall Brawl show that we had down there. What a classic that was.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Man alive. Championship Wrestling Goes to War DVD is available for sale, folks. If you missed out on that, we had an attendance of over 400 fans, and what a great night of wrestling action that was, as well as the Friday Night Lights event from Mullins, West Virginia back in June. Super shows 1, 2, 3, also available on DVD, as well as multiple other episodes of our Championship Wrestling television program, Eric Foster.
That's right. If you've missed a week of our TV, go back, contact Championship Wrestling on the official MySpace page, and see how you can get that week's TV on DVD.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to announce to all of our fans that we also are going to have compilation DVDs available. If fans are interested and they want a DVD with just matches of their favorite wrestler, if they contact us on our MySpace site and say, hey, I'm interested in a compilation DVD, for instance, of Jack Miller or of Dangerous Dave Scott or Joey By God Morton or Hustler Rip Manson, whoever it may be, we're going to be able to put that together for our fans because we're fan-friendly, Eric Foster, and we want to be able to provide for them exactly what they're clamoring for, which is great, top-notch professional wrestling action, and we want to be able to give them exactly what they're looking for in the merchandise department.
Jack Miller saw Dave Scott coming, hit him with a back elbow, went right back to that arm, but Dave Scott, not one to just let him take over, does a drop toe hold and then a big elbow to the lower back of Jack Miller, and then continuously kicks and actually is now standing on the lower back of one Jack Miller.
This is what Dave Scott must do. He must ground Jack Miller and work him over on the mat. Now, I think he's letting him get back to his feet right here. And now I know he laid in that big forearm shot, but I personally think it's a mistake for him to let Miller regain his feet and his vertical base at any point.
Jack Miller, a big fan favorite, but Dave Scott taking over here has completely silenced the crowd. They don't know what to do. Dave Scott taking the pure advantage here over Jack Miller, working on that lower back. You know, one of Jack's biggest moves is that swanton, and, you know, he could easily pull it off, but if that lower back is hurt, when he lands,
he could give himself as much damage as he does his opponent. You're absolutely right. What an astute observation from our senior official. That's what comes from years of being in the ring and being close to the action right there. So congratulations on that, Eric Foster.
Dave Scott, raking the eyes, knew that Jack Miller was trying to get out of that hold, and what better way to stop a man than poke him in the eye.
I tell you what, I don't care how much conditioning that you've put your body through, how strong you are, how tough you are, how big you are. You can't build up your eyelids, Eric Foster.
No, you sure can't. And Jack Miller coming with those big kicks that he loves to throw.
We saw this last week in his matchup against Ox Baker Jr. and not able to set him off on that finishing move. What does he call that again?
I think he calls it the roll the dice. I'm not real sure, but he was setting up there, and now Dave Scott with a modified version of stretch there on Jack Miller.
Almost like a seated abdominal stretch, but effective nonetheless. If you notice how he's hooked that arm back and stretching the pectoralis major muscles along with the latissimus dorsi, the trapezius, and everything in the rib cage and abdominal muscle area. And Miller fighting his way out of it and struggling to grapple. What you're seeing here is a lot of mat-based grappling along the lines of a UFC style of a fight right now.
You see, Miller had him tied up there, and all Dave Scott did was a little back roll and was able to roll out of it, and now is taking advantage, scraping the boot across the face of Jack Miller and just taking the forearms and hammering his lower back, and now just taking his big arms and wrapping them across the chest of Jack Miller, trying to literally squeeze all that air out of him, because whenever Jack tries to take a deep breath, he won't be able to.
I'm going to tell you something. Dave Scott's a big, powerful man, but I think in this matchup, I would give the edge in power to Miller. The edge in just about every other category in this matchup goes to Dangerous Dave Scott. Dave, more experienced. He's been. Oh, look at this! Look at this!
He caught it.
Oh, and that's the danger right there. That's the danger of going to the well once too often right there.
But you see the damage that it's done to Dave Scott throughout the time. Your legs can only take so many big kicks like that.
Well, he's going to Charlie horse that muscle, and I tell you what, Miller fired up, but he's showing some of the effects right there also of the damage that he sustained against Dangerous Dave Scott earlier. And what a matchup we've got going on right here. And Dave Scott back on top of the situation. Surprises me a little bit. Enziguri, Dangerous Dave Scott went to shoot him off the ropes. Miller reversed it into an Enziguri. And, man, what a matchup. Both men down, referee Cody Green putting the 10 count on. And Miller appears to have a little bit more life in him right now than Dave Scott. Dave Scott is moving, attempting to get back to his feet. The fans here in attendance starting to come alive, wanting to see this match continue.
Jack Miller finally having a chance to try to get some air back into his
And
lungs
Miller
as
back
he's to his feet first.
Followed slowly. And a backslide. A backslide. He's got him hooked if he gets him up and over. This could very well. Nope, didn't have him. Not quite. Inside cradle, small package, and only a 1 count that time. And ducks the clothesline, and Miller caught with a spine buster. Miller caught with a spine buster, big time right there. I'll be surprised if this isn't it.
3.
That's it. Your winner, Eric Foster, Dangerous Dave Scott. And we will be right back after these words from our sponsor.
Do you dream of stepping into the ring as a professional wrestler, referee, or manager? If so, come train with us at the USA Championship Wrestling Training Academy. For information on training, contact us now at JDR Promotions Wrestling at gmail.com to get started on living your dream today.
All right, in the ring, Eric Foster. We've got the world heavyweight champion George South from Eagle Pass, Texas, and his partner Shanghai Pierce from El Paso, Texas. And they're going to be in a big special tag team challenge matchup this week. Eric St. Clair and Mad Dog David Lynch.
Joe Brody, this match came about because of last week. The world heavyweight champion George South was wrestling Mad Dog Lynch, who was trying to climb that ladder to become world champion. And one Shanghai Pierce ran out into the ring and hit Mad Dog Lynch from behind, which caused the disqualification in the match. And then as they were beating up Mad Dog Lynch, Eric St. Clair came out and started beating up a man that is his rival, that he is trying to go after, who has 2 wins over the world champion and doesn't have the belt, one Eric St. Clair.
Well, I'll tell you what, St. Clair's been chasing George South. If you've heard it, he has just yelled it out from the highest places that he wants George South back in that ring, and right now he's got him, but unfortunately it's in a tag team contest. And looks like St. Clair's going to be starting off the match against Shanghai Pierce. And here we go. And our main event here on television, the world heavyweight champion in the ring, Shanghai Pierce and Eric St. Clair lock up, collar and elbow lock up. St. Clair takes the arm over, working that wrist, working that elbow, and working that shoulder. Pierce going to try to reverse it, shoots a knee into the midsection and reverses it right back over into a headlock and a headlock takeover. And
both these men have been in the ring against each other time and time again, but you still, in every match, have a filling out process because you never know what a man's game plan is from match to match.
Well, I can tell you, I don't want to take away and distract from this matchup. There's not going to be any filling out process between Danny Ray and myself at Super Show 4 in Princeton. I'm coming to fight.
Well, Joe Brody, I don't know. While we're showing the 2-week year in review or the year in awards within the next 2 weeks, I think you should take that time and get some weight training done and get ready for that big match that you got January 16th at the Princeton Rec Center.
Well, I'm not going to do a lot of weight training because in 2 weeks you're not going to do help yourself a lot right there. Well, I might do a little bit of light cardio work, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit around and I'm going to work up a really big mad at adorable Danny Ray.
Well, here we go. The match that Eric St. Clair has won, it just so happens it's in a tag match. He finally gets his hands on George South.
Did you see that big elbow sent the world champion down to the canvas?
George South comes up with that closed fist, and the referee warns him that it has to stay open as they lock up in the center of the ring once again.
And looked like a shot to the eyes right there, and he worked that arm, and he's right on it. And Mad Dog David Lynch. Look at that, a back heel trip. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
You sure don't. Mad Dog David Lynch wants in there in the worst way, but I don't think he wants to get in there to face George South. I think he wants to get his hands on one Shanghai Pierce.
Well, I can guarantee you this. Mad Dog Lynch will take anything he can get if he can get a hold of one of them in the ring. And it looks like that the world champion, his partner Shanghai Pierce, have decided to try and isolate Eric St. Clair. Mad Dog David Lynch has yet to see his first action in this matchup.
I'm sure over the last week, Shanghai Pierce and George South have gotten together, made a couple phone calls, and kind of made a game plan to face these two as Mad Dog Lynch gets tagged in to finally get his hands on Shanghai Pierce.
Oh, and this is where we're going to see it. These guys have a real bad problem with each other. And look at this. And Mad Dog David Lynch just working that arm over. And did you see him drop his body weight across that shoulder and arm of Shanghai Pierce? And Pierce with the rake of the eyes with the advantage. And a big right hand block by Mad Dog Lynch, and a chop sends Shanghai Pierce down to the canvas, covered by Lynch. Referee Cody Green down, makes a 2 count and back up and right into the rear chin lock, taking him into the corner. Mad Dog takes Shanghai Pierce into the corner. Oh, and look at that. Look at that. You heard the impact of that chop and the big shot across the back of the shoulder blades. He's going to shoot him in, and here he comes in a big boot. Big boot to the jaw, right to the point of the chin, as a matter of fact, on Mad Dog David Lynch, and then follows it up with a clothesline. Shanghai Pierce with the advantage.
Mad Dog David Lynch was trying to stay on Shanghai Pierce, trying to wear him down so he couldn't get him in any way. Shot him in that turnbuckle, let him catch his breath too quick with that big kick, and now George South comes in, and they just double team Mad Dog Lynch and knocks him down to one knee. Eric St. Clair coming in to plead the case that referee Cody Green needs to get one man in and one man out, but they do have a 5 count.
World champion George South took Mad Dog Lynch down and got a 2 count. He's all over referee Cody Green, saying that was a 3. I don't think so, Eric, but you give us your professional opinion as an official.
It was a 2 count. It's very hard in tag team matches to keep control of all the action going in, especially when you have a lot of aggression coming into a match like these 4 men do.
What you're seeing right here is world champion George South putting on a clinic. Oh, and look at
Look
this,
right
look
there.
at this, look at this. If our cameras focus in on that, you're going to see Shanghai Pierce helping George South with a little additional leverage there, cranking down on Mad Dog David Lynch, and they're wearing him out. Referee Cody Green is blissfully ignorant of this entire situation.
Once again, as an official, you're down there basically looking at the man's eyes and asking him if he gives up, because you never know, he could be going out. If he goes out, that's the end of a match too.
Well, what you've got in that ring right now is you got 4 veterans, Eric Foster, 4 real, true veterans of the match sport, professionals, and they're putting on a clinic. Unfortunately, the clinic that George South and Mad Dog Lynch are putting on are... Oh, and look at this bear hug.
Bear hug and then a tag.
South was close enough, made the tag.
A tag, and Mad Dog David Lynch never saw it, but Joe Brody, I never thought I'd be calling a match where I would call Eric St. Clair a veteran, but I am here today.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about that. About 11 or 12 years in the sport at this point. Eric Foster, only slightly less time involved in the sport than you.
Just by a couple of months, but, you know, Eric St. Clair coming in there for the save, not knowing if Mad Dog was going to kick out or not. Shanghai doing the smart thing, tagging the fresh George South, who's got a little bit of air while standing on the apron back in the ring.
I'll tell you what, the world champion and his partner Shanghai Pierce absolutely working over Mad Dog Lynch right now, and I thought that their strategy was going to be to try and isolate Eric St. Clair, but it looks like that they've actually they've strategized this thing out to stay away from St. Clair, and they've isolated Mad Dog David Lynch. And
why would that be, Joe Brody?
Well, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe that they were able to put, a little bit of hurt on him at some point that we're not aware of, and they feel like he's a weak link. Much like our director, Tommy Lester, is considered the weak link in his family. They may know something that we don't know. Was that way? I'm sorry. I didn't say weak. I didn't mean to say weak link. I meant to say missing link. I'm sorry.
Couple shots to the midsection there. Oh, there's another one by David Lynch. Shoots George South into the turnbuckle. Comes in, big charge, and George South moves.
Nobody home on that one. And, again, the quick tags here from the world champion and his partner.
And did you see what George South did?
He did.
There?
He blocked Mad Dog Lynch.
He just
from
stood
making the
right in
tag.
front of him.
Absolutely. That's the hallmark of the type of wrestling that was done by the Anderson brothers and Paul Jones and Wahoo McDaniel in years gone by. And teams like that, Johnny Weaver and Nelson Royal and the Superstar and Super Destroyer. The type of wrestling you just don't see a lot of guys do today.
Now see, Eric St. Clair is in the ring, completely distracting the ref, allowing the team. There was no tag there, but they were allowing him to come in and double team the man.
Oh, and look at this. He's getting him worked up. There it is. There it is. He just hit him. I thought he was going for that claw hold, but he covered him. He got a 2 count. Referee Cody Green taking a verbal tongue lashing right now in the ring from the World Heavyweight Champion. And, you know, it's bound to be a little bit nerve-wracking for Cody Green. I'm pretty sure that he's never been in the ring with the World Heavyweight Champion before.
As far as I know, he hasn't. And it's always a pleasure for me to be in there. But you always got to make sure you want to do what you're told to do. And as you can see, George South here all over Mad Dog David Lynch, just right back to that arm that they've worked on the entire match.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're working him over, that's for sure. And Mad Dog David Lynch has been on the receiving end of about 4 minutes of a continuous offense from the World Heavyweight Champion in Shanghai Pearson. I don't know if it's a deficit that he's going to be able to dig himself out of right now.
Shanghai Pierce is standing there on the apron getting some air. George South knew that, so in order to take a breather, he tags out. Let Shanghai come here and continue the action on today.
They've continuously kept the fresh man in the ring, and they've cut the ring off. They've drawn that imaginary vertical line, diagonal line across the ring, and they've kept Mad Dog Lynch in their half of the ring, and they've just absolutely worked him over. It looks like a New York City mugging out there right now.
Referee Cody Green laying basically on the mat, trying to look at the face of David Lynch in between the legs of Shanghai Pierce, asking him if he gives up, if he quits, and wants to end this match. David Lynch trying to come back up here, maybe laying on the mat, got a little bit of his air. I'm sure his arm's hurting, but you know, still a little. Every bit of air
He arm dragged him out of it, and he's created some separation here. Shanghai Pierce, and takes a shot at Eric St. Clair on the outside, and there comes St. Clair.
Eric St. Clair.
Cody Green.
Taking an exception to that punch that he just took, came in, referee Cody Green stepping in, telling him that he cannot step foot in that ring unless he's a legal man, allowing the other team no tag and to come in and put a bear hug on David Lynch.
Man, what a television main event we are seeing right here. The World Heavyweight Champion in tag team action with his partner Shanghai Pierce against Mad Dog David Lynch and Eric St. Clair. All 4 men champions in their own right. Each of the 3 men in the ring with the World Heavyweight Champion. Top 10 contender at this time, and perfectly capable of taking that title from him. And again, an abdominal stretch applied by world champion George South, and referee Cody Green checking. Mad Dog David Lynch shot into the corner, down into the 3-point stance, and missed into the turnbuckle with the shoulder. World champion George South. It may have possibly injured himself, and there comes the tag. There it is, the tag, and there comes the well-rested Eric St. Clair. Big elbow smash, sending both men down. South outside the ring, and there goes St. Clair after his quarry, the man he's been chasing. And inside the ring, that leaves a very stunned
Shanghai Pierce getting that Texas bull rope. Ringing that bell.
Here it comes. Oh, and look at that. He just nailed him. That's it. The referee, Cody Green, saw him nail him. And
referee turned around right when he nailed him. Shanghai Pierce did not do a good job in hiding it.
Absolutely not. And I'll tell you what, there's some bleeding, there's some blood here, and we've got Shanghai Pierce and Mad Dog David Lynch right now with the world champion George South. And they're
Mad Dog busted open.
They're stomping a mud puddle in him right now, and Eric, I don't know if we even want to show this. They're going to hang him. They're going to hang him with that bull rope. They've got him once again with that bull rope. They're hanging him. The world heavyweight champion is Shanghai Pierce hanging Mad Dog David Lynch. And let's go to a break. Let's go to a break right here. We don't want to show this to our fans. fans, I am here with the World Heavyweight Champion George South and Shanghai Pierce, and they may have lost the battle, but they definitely won the war. You can see the effects of that right there.
You know something? People, how many times do we got to tell you? We do whatever we want whenever we want. What y'all just saw here is just the very beginning of what's fixing to happen. This guy right here just did not fall off the turnip truck. He's been beating up people for a long time. Listen, folks, I'm telling all of you, lock up your wives, lock up your kids, lock up your dog, because we're going to destroy everything that comes in our way, starting right here tonight.
Well, I'm sure, fans, there'll be repercussions from tonight. Please, thank you for joining us here on Championship Wrestling, and come back next week to find out what the fallout of all this incident is.